Hello, welcome to McBox Capital channel. My name is Michael Chu. This is the second video for this week, ending June 5th, 2026. This is going to be talking about the list of my growth stocks that I follow. And for this week, we have IBD signal turned down on Friday due to the sell-off. Now it's 60-80% allocation. Still pretty high from their perspective. But we do have 3 distribution days on Nasdaq and S&P. We're seeing more distribution both on the stock side as well as on the industry group side. And we're seeing pretty much all the sectors are negative, more distribution. The only area that is still positive is financial, which is surprising. And then here, these are the list of growth stocks I follow. There's 600 of them, and out of those, 400, more than 400 now is in downtrend, and 64 is in near the short-term moving average, and 139 is in uptrend. That gives it around 26% of it still in uptrend. So we have come down quite a bit. Of those numbers, these are the top 100. We still predominantly have 56 of the top 100 in technology area, 3 in retail. Industrial is being in second place at 27, health stock 7, commodities energy 4, and financial 3. So even though financial did somewhat better, they're still not in the top 100 in terms of performance. So this is the spreadsheet I use. We can see the ranking here, and we also see the symbol here. And then we see the price performance, and this price performance is since March 30th, so that has been over 2 months now. So we're entering month of June. We are in the month of June, and we can see whether they're in downtrend or uptrend, and you can see many of them turn downtrend for this week. So that is very negative. Also, this tells us if they make a new high recently, and you can see not many stocks are making new high on Friday. And right here we can see the industry group and the sector they're in. So that gives us a perspective. So we'll start from the top here. We have MXL in the downtrend now, and PNG. So this week, I think because so many stocks are in downtrend now, like I'm going to be focused more on not too much stocks that are still in uptrend. We'll talk about some of them, but more so like what's happening. What do I see? And one of the things that and it may not be universal for all the stocks, but it's pretty it covers majority of them. So first thing is we have a top on Nasdaq. If we go back to Nasdaq, and here we see the daily chart on Nasdaq. On Wednesday, we have the first down day, and then we on Thursday it undercut the short-term moving average 10-day, right? And then it bounced back to close near the 10-day, and then on Friday we gapped down in the morning and we went completely further down from there, and we undercut the 21-day. So those are the two things we focus on. The 10-day we undercut it on Thursday, and 21-day we undercut that on Friday, and we are sitting much lower in 21 days. So that is a perspective how we compare stocks relative to the index. Here's S&P, very similar. Wednesday we have the first down day. Thursday it actually did better than Nasdaq because it actually was closing positive. So it bounced on the 10-day, but again, same thing. Friday it undercut the 10 and 21 day, which is very, very negative, right? So again, we are below the 21 day. So again, very similar. So most stocks are following this pattern. So what we want to compare is if they're not following this pattern, are they trading better or are they trading worse relatively? So for Max Linear, which is the first ranking stock on my list, and you can see the green line here is around this level, and then the pink line here is around this level. So on Wednesday and Thursday, it is trying to hold on to the green line. It did bounce off the pink line on Thursday as well, but Friday we gave up both the green line and the pink line. So this act pretty relative similar to the index. So we are now below the 21-day, the pink line, And again, we could head down to the 50 days. So this one is somewhat similar to the index. Next, we have Penguin, and this one fall below the 10-day on Friday, so just slightly. So this one has been extended so far that recently that it only fall back to the 10-day, slightly under. It was still way above the 21 days. So from that perspective, this one is still pretty strong compared to the index, right? And in general to the other stocks as well. So we'll just mark it green just for my own sake. Maybe I should follow these stocks. Again, at some point the market will rebound. I don't know how far the market could go down and the stocks could go down. I don't try to predict. I just follow the trend. That's how I trade. And if it does bounce back, what are the stocks doing, right? And I'm going to focus on the stocks that have the strongest relative strength. And if I come back to here, the relative strength line, which is this blue line, you can see here, it's still pretty high up. Yeah. So next we have VSH and ALAP here. So when I do see uptrend here, it means it is still above the 10 and 21 day, usually. Sometimes there's some discrepancy on the moving average I use in this that produce this versus the chart, but in general they're usually pretty close. So here VSH still in uptrend, ALAP is in downtrend. So here is VSH, as you see, it is still above the 10 days, so that's why it's still in uptrend. So this one has come down, but again, relatively compared to the index and most other stocks, it is doing better still. And yeah. Here's ALAP. This one has also fallen below the 10-day, but it's still way above the 21 days. So again, this one also relatively still pretty strong. Next, we have MRVL and VPG. So MRVL has fallen back from the high here towards the green line. So that is still pretty healthy, just slightly below it. Actually, no, the green line is, let me see, it's down here. So it's still way above the green line. So still pretty strong MRVL. Again, I'm not talking, like, obviously I'm only talking about relatively where the moving average is against where it's trading, but this stocks got hammered on Friday. Look at this one, down 16% right from the top here. So if anyone tried to chase this stock, like on Wednesday or Thursday, you are being punished in this sense because it just dropped so much from the top, and now we are back to the near the green line. We're still not even reach it yet. So that's why, one of my rules is I don't chase extended stocks past way above the 10-day moving average because you usually will suffer a pretty big pullback that comes close to it. So that's one of my trading rules. So sometimes it will work. It can go up a lot higher before it pulls back, but it's just too much risk. The risk-reward ratio is not worth it in many times. So yeah. So just want to talk about that briefly here. Here's VPG also doing pretty good here in terms of relative performance. It's still trading just slightly below the 10-day. It's not quite at the 21-day or below it. It is down 8% on Friday. Again, most of these stocks are down close to double digits or more. So it's a pretty bad day if you're holding all these stocks here because your portfolio is probably down 10% or more on Friday. Next we have SNDK and HIMX here. So this is SanDisk, and look at this. It was trading well on, even Thursday. It was still way above the green line, but then on Friday it just gave up the green line and closed at the pink line here, near the pink line. So the 21 day. So it's still, it's still not below the 21 day, which the Nasdaq is and S&P is. So from that perspective, this is still slightly relatively performing better. HIMX, this one also came down pretty hard to the 21 day, again, down 16%. I'm not trying to undermine the drop on Friday again, but again, relatively, it is still performing than the general index. Now, even though some of these stocks at the top are trading better than the index right now, doesn't mean they can't deteriorate much faster later. So just be cautious about that. I'm just saying, hey, if we do see a bounce here, if we do see a sustainable bounce, some of these stocks here that I'm marking as green, which are already performing relatively better because they are has gone up much more than other stocks, and they're going down not as hard as some of these other stocks. So it's worthwhile to keep that on your list, to watch it. And in case they do bounce, and we might make new high again, right? I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying it's a list that I want to watch and pay attention to. Next we have MU and Flex. So this one's fall below the 10-day and then 21-day, close to it on Friday. Again, still pretty good, above the 21-day. And as you can see, most of these high-performing stocks are near the 21-day. They haven't even break the 21-day, and that's very important because a lot of tech stocks get support at the 21-day. So 10-day is short term, but for intermediate term, usually 21-day can be very supportive, and this whole rally hasn't come down to that far. It has gone below 10-day once, but it hasn't gone to 21-day. So we do probably will challenge it, but the question is, can it bounce from there? And that's another thing I want to see. So here's HIMX. Again, it's coming down to the 21-day. So you see, very common. All these stocks are coming down to the 21-day. But these are the top tier stocks, right? As we go down the tier, the lower stocks, lower tier stocks, they're gonna be already below 21-day. So yeah, with this one also down 16% on Friday. Next we have Flex and ARM. This one has only come down to the 10-day, so that is even stronger. ARM also came down, but it's just slightly below the 10-day, so that's still pretty good. This is SIMO. Look at this one. It is coming down below the 21 days. So this one is similar to the index, yeah. Next we have DELL, AMD, and Credo. Well, this one is still above the green line, so this is very strong. AMD here is coming down to the 21-day. This one was down 10% on Friday. Here's Credo, sitting near the 21-day. Next we have STX, STRL, and STM. STX is now below the 10-day. Getting closer to the 21-day. STRL is pulling back to just the 10-day, so that's very strong. STM also pulling down to below the 10-day, so not too bad, not at the 21-day yet. Next we have DDOG, BE, and HPE. Data dog is now below the 10-day, so looking pretty good from the short average perspective, moving average. So here's BE Bloom Energy. So here's the green line. Here's the pink line. It has fallen below both. So this one is more along the line of the index. So we'll see if we can find support anytime soon here. If it does come down to the 50-day. Here's Hewlett Packard. This one has climbed pretty strong and now starting to fall and still above the 10-day here. So you can see the trend. Most of these stocks are still relatively performing from the moving average perspective, still not too bad compared to the index. So I'm not going to go do the same exercise for the rest. I mean, you can do that on your own. But many of them are in downtrend at this moment because they're all below the 10-day. So we'll look at some of the ones that are still in uptrend. So for example, we have FPS, Snow, even SEZL is near it, TWLO. So this is FPS, look at this, very sharp. Even though it's down 8% on Friday, it's still way above the green line here. Next we have Snowflake here. This one has come up really significantly after strong earnings and it hasn't really given a chance to pause, and right now it has pulled back and now it's getting closer to 10-day, so looking pretty good. This is SEZL. This one is trading pretty tightly. It's still holding up the 10-day pretty well this week. You can see even on Friday, even though it's down 4%, but it's still near the 10-day. It's not at the 21-day yet. And here's TWLO. TWLO continues to power higher, and it's still way above the 10-day, even with Friday's close at 4.5% lower. Next, we have EXTR and HNGE here, as well as LQDA. This is Extreme Networks. This one also bounced to new high on Thursday before pulling back on Friday. 5%, 5.3% is still above the 10-day, so relatively very strong. Next we have health-related stock, HNGE, Hinge Health, and this one is moving higher. It was still up 1% on Friday. It's quite extended from the 10-day though. Next we have Liquidia Corp. This one pulled back after a big bounce on Thursday, breakout, and it's down only 1.1% on Friday. Next we have SEL, TENB, and PDFS. This is SellPoint in the security software area. This one has been pulling back very tightly. Look at that, and this is after having some ANDs at the top here, which is accumulation sign. This one's only down almost 2% on Friday, still above the 10-day. TENB, also another security stock here, pulling back to the 10-day, dropping 5%, nearly 5% on Friday. So we'll look for a bounce there. Next we have PDFS, this one in the software area, pulling back to the 10-day. It was down 8% on Friday. So again, we're hoping to see if we can bounce from here. Next we have ARCB, KFRC, and IESC. So this is in the transportation truck area. This one is doing really well. It's up 6% on Friday, so definitely defying the market trend. KFRC, this is in the commercial service staffing area, and this one also holding pretty good this whole week. It didn't really come down to 10-day directly, and yeah, it's now near the high still. Friday was down only 1%, and it's near new high as well. IESC holdings here also bouncing off the 10-day. Friday it did close weaker, almost 3%, but still above the 10-day, so it looks pretty good. Well, if we travel down the list here, we see some here: STLD, GEO, UNH. These stocks are still in uptrend. STLD here pulling back 3% on Friday, still way above the 10-day. This is the Geo group in the security area. This one has been moving up higher. And yeah, it didn't give back anything. It was still up 0.6% on Friday. This is UNH, managed care. This one has been moving up nicely Thursday and Friday on higher volume, so that is very interesting. Next we have TFII, NEO, ZETA, and NET. And this one is only giving back 0.5% on Friday, so very strong trading momentum this moment, moving upward. Next we have NEO. This one is in medical service area, down 3.6% on Friday, but still above the 10-day significantly. Next we have ZETA Global Holdings in the software enterprise, also pulling back to the 10-day, down 4.8% on Friday, so we'll see if we can find support there. Next we have Cloudflare pulling back to the 10-day. Here is down 6% on almost 7% on Friday. So again, we want to see some sort of support level coming in soon. So if you traverse down this list, we continue to see many stocks in downtrend. We have CVLT in uptrend, ALNT still in uptrend. Most of these stocks are pulling back. It's just a matter of where they pull back to. We have KNX in our transportation truck, AAMI financial, Etsy in the retail internet, Chef in the food preparation, JBHT another truck transportation, LSTR also another truck. So that whole group is doing really well. We have Titan here in the software enterprise. We have R in the commercial service leasing. These are all making new highs. Lily, let's take a look at this one. So this one is making a huge cup with handle pattern here, trying to break out this Thursday and Friday. Friday it did pull back to the lower range, but still up for the day. So this is worth watching as this one might start to come out. As we go down the list here, we probably don't see as many stocks making new high. Here we have ODFL making new high, transportation truck, Banks Regional PGC, UNFI in the food area. We have BRC here for office supplies, ISG in the leisure lodging. We have Citigroup here, Banks Money Center, Care in the Banks Regional, Marriott in the leisure lodging, CRS in the aerospace defense, MUFG in the Banks Money Center. We have GE here, diversified operations, PetSmart, BBOB in the Bank Southeast region, CNOP in the Bank Northeast region. Again, lots of banks are doing not bad. So HLT, leisure lodging, SJM, food package, DCOM in the Banks regional. We have Gordon, GRDN, medical service, Bills, Banks North Midwest, ABBV. This is medical drugs, EW medical products. So some health, some financial, CTAS in the service outsourcing. As you scroll down this list, probably won't see too many making new highs anymore. So yeah, we see a lot of stocks in downtrend at this moment, more than almost 3/4 of them. So my rule of thumb generally is if they're already in downtrend, I don't do anything. I just let it find support level. Eventually it will turn. If it comes back above the 10-day, usually that's my cue. But again, I have to see whether there's strong volume, whether it has previously have any resistance at that level and so forth. But overall, it's like just be patient. This pullback could end right away, or it can turn into a bigger correction. Who knows? I don't like how Thursday, the transition was Wednesday, it was down. Thursday, it down further, but it came back, it tries to come back. That day's low was the signal. And Friday, a lot of stocks obviously went under Thursday's low, and that's what triggered a lot of selling. Will this continue? yeah, there could be lots of panic sell-off still, right? At some point, people will be done selling, and that's when things will turn, at least for a short-term bounce. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for your support.